I'm Jeffrey with Overthink Group, and right now we're going to look at Hippo, which is an Insurtech startup that was recently raised a round of funding, and they are now a unicorn. And I think there are some things that content strategists can learn from what Hippo's done and some opportunities that they face. So if you're in a position in which you've already done a lot of growth, but now you have a lot of money coming your way, or you've hired a bunch of people and you need to leverage those marketing resources to do even more growth in the areas of content and SEO, this is a presentation that you're going to want to see. So we know that Hippo has raised $150 million, and that's great. That's a lot of money. We already have some idea of what they're going to spend it on, but in terms of general, what they're generally looking to do is they want to grow. What would you do if you were in this position and you were responsible for content strategy and SEO? So we would first look at things that Hippo's already doing really well on the content and SEO front. One thing that I noticed Hippo doing that is really, really smart, seriously, this is something that anyone who is running a blog, especially if you're in some sort of technical or arcane knowledge field, Hippo turns their internal subject matter experts into sources for their content. It's pretty common for companies to just farm out content creation to freelancers and then try to edit them on the back end. But something that Hippo has done is that they've actually, as is the case here on their guide to mold insurance, is they went to their director of underwriting and said, hey, well, let's get some of Mike's expertise on this issue, and then built that guide based on what he told them. They answer so many questions on the blog. This is data pulled from Ahrefs. You can see that the Hippo blog is doing a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to answering questions that people would have around homeowners insurance. So questions like, what are underwriters looking for, or what does a home insurance inspection look like? They're ranking for questions in that area. So they rank number 1 for home insurance inspectors, or does my landlord need to be on my rental insurance? Is deodorant flammable? That's something that they rank for because they wrote a blog post about how to avoid fire hazards. So you can see they have already done the effort of creating a rather robust blog that tackles these questions that people would have. Now, one thing that they've been doing really well is as you read more of the recent blog posts, they're getting increasingly more thorough with internal links. So, for example, here's a paragraph pulled from the beginning of a more recent blog post, and each of these links that I have highlighted in blue, that's an internal link. An internal link is what you get when you link to another piece of content on your own site instead of linking to another site. Now, Hippo does a great deal of linking to authoritative third-party content. They do that all the time. But when it comes to internal links, this is something that I think may be the most underrated SEO tactic of them all. Just diligently making sure that your content references your content is a huge SEO win. It can be tedious at times, but the payoff is grand. And so because Hippo is working with these state-level markets, one thing that we're finding Hippo beginning to do, you can see they have a guide to California homeowners insurance and Texas homeowners insurance. They operate in far more states than those, but these are the larger markets that they're serving. And so this is also going to be something that we touch on a little bit later. But I say this now because they're already oriented in a direction that I think startups who find themselves in a position similar to Hippo's should be considering. So we look at all these, and then on top of it all, they're looking to hire a content strategist, which shows that they are investing in their content strategy, and hopefully they'll hire someone who's really smart, who can look at everything that they're doing well, and also consider some of these some good options moving forward, including some of the ones that we're going to look at next. So what can they do to grow? They've already been doing a lot of really good things, but how can they be thinking about leveraging a new content strategist hire and presumably a larger marketing budget that needs to be spent on growth. How do they grow in terms of SEO and content? Well, I'm going to look at 3 different ways that you can grow when it comes to content and when you have to be scaling. So we're not looking at shoestrings tactics, we're looking at ways that you can strategically up your content game when you need to grow fast. So one is re-examining your navigation and discoverability. So making it very easy for people to know what you write about and making it easy for them to find things that you've written. There are other players in the field that make it a little bit easier for people to see what's going on. One example is Hippo's competitor Lemonade. Lemonade has an SEO powerhouse on their website, which they call Insuropedia. It's an insurance dictionary. And what they've done is they've pulled together plain English definitions of common terms that people would find when they're learning about insurance. And so it's listed out here in a glossary style. Each one of these is a link to its own comprehensive article that explains what these different things are in plain words. And as you can see, while Lemonade's blog is a very strong force for them, this Insuropedia subdirectory shows up a lot in their most trafficked pages about homeowners insurance. So we know that this is something that's gaining Hippo's competitor some organic search traffic in Hippo's space. So that's something that I would pay attention to if I were Hippo. Another way to grow when you have to scale. If you have the resources to do so, it can often be very helpful to go both wide and deep and making pieces that are specific to each market that you're serving. This almost builds a wall of protective content and plenty of opportunities for those internal links. Let me show you a company that does this really, really well. This is Avail, and what Avail is it's landlord software. What Avail did was they just created a portion of their website that dug into the landlord-tenant laws at the state-specific level. And as you can see, they've got a lot of backlinks to these, almost 700 backlinks. This is something that Hippo could consider doing, considering all the new states that they're entering. Look at this. This is just since this spring, we have press releases from them entering New Hampshire, entering Nebraska, Kansas, Connecticut, Oregon, Virginia. So all of these states represent new markets that Hippo is entering. What would happen if, or what are the homeowners insurance questions or homeowners insurance norms that are specific to those states? That's an opportunity that Hippo could chase and gain more authority and more customers in doing so. And then third, this is something that falls to the wayside a lot when you're growing, but keeping links and content updated. If you're producing a great deal of content, it can be difficult to remember to go back and keep it updated or cleaned up or make sure those links work. In fact, Hippo at one point in time had a homeowners insurance buyer's guide on their website. They linked to it in the footer, but right now it links to an empty page. That probably won't be the case for a very long time, but it's an example of how even very high-profile content can sometimes fall to the wayside and not get the link attention that it should have. So my recommendation would be, as you're growing, as you're trying to scale up your SEO and content marketing, then make it normal, make it just a built-in part of your process to go through the content you've already produced and make sure that it's well interlinked, make sure that it's up to date, make sure that it's still just as presentable and useful for you and your customers as it was when you produced it. And those are some things that you can learn from Hippo. Hippo's already doing such great things on the SEO front, and I think they're going to be doing a lot more cool stuff in the months and years ahead. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Jeffrey with Overthink Group. I hope this was helpful.